Hey friends, day 9 of 10 days till a decade. One more to go. The time has flown. Can't believe we're still doing this. Can't believe you're still watching, but I'm grateful for it. So here we are, day 9. I think the last episode I alluded to kind of where I was at in recovery about year 4 and 5 and what prompted me to move to Los Angeles to chase my dreams as a stand-up comedian. First and foremost, I had done a lot of work on myself in sobriety to even get to a place where I could hold on a job for more than 6 months. I think at the time before I left that job to move to Los Angeles, I had been there almost 4 years, which was the longest I had ever been employed at any establishment, which was a big feat. Being almost 29. I was 29, about almost 30 years old at the time. So being sober and doing the work, it allowed me to show up on time for work. It allowed me to be honest when I couldn't do things or when I needed a day off to go do comedy. And I'm super grateful that the people that I work for knew exactly what I was up to. And like in previous instances, I would lie just to get what I want, or I was too afraid to tell employers what was going on with me. And granted, being a booze hound didn't help, but these were the tools I developed. I ran things by people. I asked questions. I leaned on people with more experience than me. That was around year 4 and 5. Those are the things I was working on. I got to a point where I was able to start helping other people, and not just thinking about myself. So at this point in time, I started dating someone. I was absolutely in love with, and looking back on it now, they probably weren't a good fit for me. I'm doing a lot of current work on myself where I'm looking back at previous relationships, and even without the drink or the drug, there's still a lot of underlying issues with my picker, as it were. They say alcoholics pickers are broken, and I think too at the point that I was at, I was able to paint a lot of red flags pink, just because I didn't want to be alone for whatever reason. And that person, and I have no ill will towards them. I was on the road, and they had cheated on me, and it absolutely broke my heart. And the pain was really great, as is with most heartbreaks. And so what I did with that pain is I wrote a solid breakup bit about it, and I committed to myself to, in 1 year's time, I'm going to leave Central Illinois and move to Los Angeles because there was nothing for me there anymore. So, I could be grateful for the pain looking back on it. I can own my part in it. I stayed with a person who probably wasn't a good fit for me. And, I'm not blaming myself for being cheated on, not at all. But if I would have had the self-knowledge that I have gathered in previous years, I'm still working on it. I wouldn't have been in that situation to begin with. I would have knew when to hold them and when to fold them, as the great Kenny Rogers said. So, that pain was so great that it propelled me into a state of I'm a very all or nothing person, and when I make a decision to do something, I go full force at it. So I spent the entire 2016 scrimping and saving and getting my credit right. That was a thing that I never knew I could do in recovery. Reached out to a friend for help to try to get my credit score up because I knew I was going to have to rent an apartment that was going to be an ungodly amount of money as soon as I got to Los Angeles. So I had been visiting LA, doing trade shows and then my own trips just to see if it was going to be a good fit, and I absolutely liked it. And two, when you get to a point as a comedian, a lot of people will tell you, and this is debatable, but you got to make a choice. It's either New York or LA. And I knew more people in Los Angeles, and fuck the snow. So that's ultimately why I chose LA. And I'm grateful that I made my choice. But I scrimped and saved for an entire year. And then I landed on the shores of Los Angeles, California. I think it was late March, beginning of April 2017. So 19, 20, 21, 20. But now you're 5 years now. Yeah, I had to count on my fingers because I'm still not good at the mathing. Good storyteller, but terrible at the mathing. And I got out here and I lived on a buddy's couch for about a month until I found a nice apartment on the west side for an affordable rate. And I got really lucky and I just started my endeavor out here. My first month and a half in Los Angeles, I did not feel comfortable in the recovery community because it was different. I just, I let me get the best of me. I was like, well, it's not the same, it's different, and this and that, and all these other things. It was just a Dave problem, but eventually I settled in, but a fun story, about a month and a half in to Los Angeles, I was driving my little comedy car that I've talked about in a previous video, and I was on my way to a gig in Orange County, and this lady, I was changing lanes, and this lady clipped me on the 405 going way too fast and totaled my car. So within a month and a half, my car was completely toast. I had to fly back to Illinois and take a majority of my savings and invest it in a car because you can't not have a car in Los Angeles. So I flew back home and went to a dealership on the south side of Chicago, and I picked out the car that I currently still drive. It's a nice old Volkswagen GTI 2007, and I bought this car. And the reason I tell this story, why it does have sentimental value to me, is we bought the car on a weekend and I got approved because it got my credit up and, I had the money to do so, but it was a Saturday and the car dealership would not release the car until the bank check cleared. My father went with me, and this is the kind of person that he was. He goes, well, if I give you $7,000 and you hold it in your safe, will you let him have that car? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. So my old man went to the bank and dropped the money off at the place. It was a nice south side of Chicago deal, and they gave me the keys, and I went on my way. He went back there Monday morning and picked up the car. I drove from Chicago. It was like Sunday midday, and I made it back to Los Angeles in less than 48 hours because I had a show on Tuesday. And that was the drive. So, I'm landing the plane the next episode, and it's probably going to be a lot longer. But this story goes to show it's just like, if I wasn't sober, I wouldn't have been capable of doing these things. I would have never built the trust back of my father. I would have never been able to save up a year's worth of money. Even though I was motivated by pain and heartbreak, I was still able to focus and keep on my game. Whereas previously, I would have drank at that person. And now I can look back and have a sense of gratitude for the pain. I can have gratitude, for my late father. Some of we lost Pop in 2019, but that's the kind of person that he was. It was like a helpful person, and I owe it all to recovery that I got to build that relationship back. So this video is going a little longer, and tomorrow might be even longer than that, but I got my 10-year recovery coin in the mail. I am not opening it until day 10, until the 23rd. So thanks for watching.